I'm talking about Carve Solico and Dharma Chef, experienced, respected journalists who've basically got the basically been like guard dogs biting on this Šeško thing and not letting go, like they got a locked jaw. I haven't seen anything, any evidence. The Gyokeres thing has only been mused since Bert's come to the club.
True. Yeah, no, Šeško's been the number one target for this manager for a long, long time. I agree with Kenny. And Gyokeres has only come to the light since Bert has walked in the door. But what I'm saying is, what worries me is that we're putting so much effort onto Šeško, and for me, he's not the player that's going to get us to the next level. He's another project. He's young. He may be good in a couple of years' time. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but is he really the player that we need to win us premierships and Champions League finals and Champions League?
But is Gyokeres necessarily?
I think 63 goals, 19 assists.
Crazy goals, 26. He's actually cheaper. 26, 27. He's cheaper than Šeško.
Well. Listen, what would you rather take a gamble on? I know.
Right now, Gyokeres, because I think I like Šeško. I like what he can become and all of that. But I think we're past. Not that we're past it, and I wouldn't cry. But Gyokeres is going against what we normally do right now. Mode, bring him.
If you look at the levels this guy is pumped out this season. If you look at the levels,
Kenny FC's coming out with some like.
Yeah, I know. If you look at the levels that have been pumped out this season from Gyokeres, you can only go by what you see. And we see the problem is we haven't got time to hang around for players that may become good.
Or we might, but our manager, man.
We need someone from day one to hit the ground running. We need someone that's banging in goals from day one.
But what if Šeško does that?
I'm not saying he might not, but
and it's got to be devil's advocate.
I think with Šeško, he isn't. It depends how Arteta's going to play him, though, isn't it?
I think with Šeško, I think with Gyokeres,
you need to change a lot. With Šeško, you need to change the way we play. We've got. I think
Šeško tells me Kai Havertz is going to be number one, and he's going to rotate.
With Gyokeres, you need to change the way we play. With Šeško, you can play pretty much the same, and that's what I'm worried about. Because what I referred to earlier in the stream, we need to change. We need to change. Teams have found
give the fans a boost.
Teams have found us out. We need a different dimension, and Gyokeres will give us that.
Yeah, mate, you're right. But you know Kenny FC and RM, they've actually redeemed themselves because they've made me think. Firstly, Kenny FC, don't be a pork shop and go, they're going to have a press conference to deny. No one has a press conference to deny, but questions be asked from people within the club, and you don't give an answer. Come on, behave. But one thing you did, mate, you did prick my. You basically pricked me with a holly. And I've taken notice and I felt the pain, is when you talked about Gyokeres' 18 penalties. And RM, again, mentioned something that is very poignant, because me and RM love a battle. We've been doing this for a few months now.
Everyone needs a villain, man.
Yeah, but he has mentioned the Portuguese league. And when Kenny AFC mentions the 18 penalties and RM mentions the Portuguese league, I have to listen. And it's not a dig at Gyokeres and a dig at his record, but I have to. The footballing part side of me, we're thinking, hang on here. We've been down this road before with players from La Liga, Darwin Núñez. Now, I'm not saying that Gyokeres is going to be like that, because Gyokeres has played in Brighton's academy, where there's videos of Benjamin White setting him up for the winner against one of the clubs, with Swansea or someone.
That could be another red flag. Brighton with the great scouting, he never made it.
Yeah, and then he played at Coventry. But when you look at the players that come from the Portuguese La Liga, they haven't transferred their goals totals into our league, which is
getting 18 penalties for us.
High velocity off the ball, but the way teams are playing, a slightly slower build-up. So in that respect, going from the Portuguese league to our league, obviously that does pose a bit of a risk, but you can't ignore the numbers. But what DJB says as well is the style of play. as well. Are we going to update our style of play?
I think Šeško more. Yeah, DJB's right. I think Šeško's more kind of plug and play with the system. We have to change it a bit for Gyökeres.
Yeah, and Šeško is probably going to be like a refined Havertz, where we play Havertz, we're very quick in the counter attack. He's got quicker than Havertz. We like to play with a target man where he's taller than Havertz and bigger, and he's used to playing that position.
You're going to see Havertz in that 10 and Šeško up front, in my opinion.
How we play Havertz in the false number 9 and how we try to operate him as an auxiliary centre forward, well, Šeško can do all of that. And that's where I understand where Mikel's coming from a footballing point of view. Do I agree with it? Probably not, because obviously I would like, Isak, but that's not going to happen, is it?
No.
Yeah, no. I'd like Kelly Rowland as well, but yeah, we can't have everything.
Now, whether that's down, whether that's down to the Cronkies, where we didn't go for Isak and offered any Nketiah $100,000 a week and gave him the 14 shirt, is that down to the Cronkies? Because Arteta apparently really rated Nketiah and thought that he was going to be our next Thierry Henry, hence the 14 shirt. So, I don't know. Was that down to the Cronkies?
I want Gyokeres, but I think people sleep on Šeško.
Listen,
I'd be over the moon
if you've
with
only
Šeško.
got a choice, I'm not saying that this guy is going to rip up the Premiership when he comes, but if that's the hand you're dealt with and you're given a choice, do you have someone that scored 63 goals and a proven goal scorer that by the way, learnt his trade,
I'd like our club to pivot and do
that was
something
also scoring goals in the Championship before he went to Portugal, in a tough league against tough defenders, no VAR that you get booted all over the place in, right? And he was still scoring goals, right? Or do you risk a potential striker?
Or do you get both?
Yeah, but
I'm dreaming, of course.
That's another thing. See, I personally think we're only going to get 2, maybe 3 signings this season. I think we're going to get that's all we're at. And I think we need more of a creative. We need pressure on Odegaard. We need another number 10. I think
people are sleeping on the left-hand side as well.
We need to sort out the left-hand side. We need a proper left back. We need Skelly in his right position, which is midfield, which will make things happen, right? And I think we need a really baller in midfield. We need a real good attacking midfield player, because Odegaard's got a free pass. He can stink the place out week in and week out, and he knows there's no one behind him to push him.
He's lucky this year Havertz weren't fit, I'll be real.
Because he don't rate Nwaneri, obviously. There's something about Nwaneri's game he don't like. So Nwaneri ain't going to put the pressure on Odegaard. So we need a player in midfield that's going to step up and put pressure on Odegaard, because he can just turn up, play as he wants to play, go missing in big games, and he knows he's going to get the shirt next week. So I think it's not just about the striker. We need about 3 or 4 players.
We need a gunman up front, and we need to spread the goals around. But we also need, when we're spreading the goals around, people that we can rely upon. Like, we need someone that can do what Saka does on the left-hand side, or even 50%. And we need goals. We need goals from a striker. Why do you lot think, that apparently, I know how Arsenal drag things out, but why do you think, based on reports, apparently we've explored deals between Gyokeres and Šeško, and it's almost like we've somewhat done the framework for both the deals and haven't actually pulled the trigger in either direction?
PR. Because the reason why I'm saying it's not a criticism against Arsenal. I would do it if I was them as well. I'm not slagging the club off. I love this club. I understand, but when you watch football as long as I have, you understand the body. You understand the games that clubs play. You understand that, like I said, the hidden messages. And the fact is that the blue ribbon signing, and everyone talks about it, even fans who don't even support us. They talk about Arsenal need a striker. Arsenal needs a striker. Pundits, Arsenal need a striker. Arsenal fans, Arsenal need a striker. Well, the best way to tell the Arsenal public is, we've got deals in place for 2. So we either want to get one or other, and that will shut you guys up. Because that's all Arteta gets asked. That's all us who's,
and he's quite frustrated with that as well.
Say, if only you got a striker, you could have won the league by now.
Wouldn't have 14 draws.
You know what I mean? That's all they. Basically, it's striker. I mean, thanks to my good friends, Dan Potts and Albert.
Big up Dan.
I go to bed sometimes thinking about Gyokeres because they just basically bang that drum for the last year.
Yeah. The problem is as well. You have to look at it from the player's point of view. Gyokeres and Šeško, they've got agents. They also talk to other players. They know what other clubs are doing. They know the ambitions of other clubs, and players nowadays, they want to leave their options open. Who's
get as much money as you can.
Who's to say Liverpool ain't going to throw their hat in and go, well, hang on a minute, let's go after Gyokeres. Man United could go after Šeško, and vice versa. Real Madrid, Barcelona, all these people.
Linked with Atletico and Napoli and Paris.
Now, I'm not being funny, but if you're a football player and you're an ambitious young player forward, wanting to make a name for yourself around Europe, around the world, you're going to be looking at Arsenal and going, right, okay, they've finished runners up 3 years running. They've bashed out the Champions League. Yeah, they haven't won a major trophy. Liverpool, man's walked through the door. He's won the Premiership. Wirtz has gone there. Frimpon's gone there. Manchester United speaks for itself. And I know people are going to go mud Man United. Oh, yeah, but
it's still Man United, biggest country.
Would you rather be Man United? No, it's not a case what I'd rather be. It's factual. And I've been watching football for many, many years. Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and they could be in Division 2 and they will still have a big pool of players because they're Manchester United. I've seen them relegated and still sign top players because they're Man United. It's a fact. So these players, right, they're going to look at Arsenal and go, well, actually, we'll see what happens. We haven't got.
I hear you with that DJB.
Just because we're Arsenal Football Club, this is where a lot of the fans go wrong. Just because we're Arsenal Football Club, the Arsenal, a lot of fans think we've got this divine right to sign every single player in the planet, and they'd want to come to us. No. Success brings players, and the fact of the matter is we haven't had any success. So players will keep their options open.
I hear you, DJB, but could you argue, like, I hear you, you're not wrong. Like, I actually agree with that. But in the same token, yeah, we flirted with success. If you're a proper gunman striker, like if you're Šeško, and I know the modern day strikers change, but if you're Šeško, you're an out and out number 9. Gyokeres, you're an out and out number 9. You're living in London, you're getting money. You've got some good players here. We've been flirting with success. We've got to the semi-finals. Okay. Do you not like? Are we not attractive as well? Maybe not like the Man United.
Of course, we're always going to be attractive. But let's reverse this, right? Take your Arsenal top off and your Arsenal head off, and you're Šeško, and you look at Arsenal, and then Liverpool coming for you, or Barcelona coming for you when you got.
I'm going Barca.
Yeah,
Lewandowski's got 2 years left.
You said that with no hesitation at all, DJ.
Yeah, no. There's levels. Unfortunately, there's levels. I'm going to do that. Before you said that, D, I was going to say, if I was Šeško, I might come here, develop, do my thing, and then cut.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you said that. I'm going Barca, and without no hesitation at all. Yeah. So these players are no different, and this is what I'm trying to say. If we've got when we do these deals or when we're going for these players, we have to be serious about it. We can't just flirt around. We can't go to Šeško's club and go, right, well, we'll pay you this much in 5 months and we'll pay you the next lot in 6 months. When you've got Man United or potentially Barcelona and teams like this rocking up and going, there you go, there's all the money. You have to be serious. If you've got ambition as a big club, you've got to be a big club in the market.
100%. And that's one thing that I hate. Like, obviously, I'm not working on transfers. I understand it's dragged out, but it does. And I know our club have had a couple of occasions where we've signed players, but with us, it's always a dragged out thing. Like I've seen articles come out where Šeško's uncle and girlfriend are talking. You don't really see that with any other players. And I must admit, as much as we're speaking about Šeško and Gyokeres, and they both have their pros and cons and whatnot, I am also at the point where just get me a striker. Like, just get me a striker. We'll consider it.
What about Alvarez?
Yeah.
What's wrong with where's Alvarez gone all of a sudden?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Should have got him last year, man. Are you going to leave sunny Spain for Arsenal?
This is what I'm saying. There's all these players out there that can do a job and that can play sort of like the Arteta's way, if you like. You know.
And I think too much is made of that, man. You know? We need players that are not really with the system, or at least
there's all these players that we need. We also need. You know, go and get Eze. Not
that's very interesting. You know, the thing about it is that, in essence, Arsenal there's still other areas we need to work on. I'm not saying that for sake of striker.
We've got a lot to do.
But the left-hand side, no one seems to talk about the left-hand side. You know, all we seem to be talking about is midfield and up top. But the left-hand side is still an issue for me. You know, how about, you know, we're going to definitely need cover for Saka. So at the end of the day,
we've got false depth defensively.
So there's still, and then as well, whether you're successful or not, you freshen it up. The top teams back in the day, it was always 2 in, 2 out. You just freshen up the squad.
Until recently, Pep was doing that all the time.
Yeah, and Arsenal, I think what Arsenal did last season in their transfer dealings, two things they did. A few things that they did. One of the things they did is that obviously they seem to be PSR concerns. Secondly, I think there seem to be if we can't get the player we want up top, then let's wait for him.
Let's keep the powder dry. I don't want to hear none of that no more.
And the third thing is that, you know, we've got, to all intents and purposes, especially people around the club, in the club, we got incredibly close to Man City, to the extent that a lot of fans thought we were on their boot toes. I thought that when we lost against Aston Villa, the game was up, that we weren't going to win the league and City were going to go on a run, and that it was close but yet too far. But the general consensus that I got the impression from was that Arsenal felt that, well, they didn't really need much because they were that close.
Complacent.
But one thing they didn't bank on, and a lot of people say injuries, I just say poor form. You know, one thing you can never deny, and a lot of people try to deny it, is that you can count on only a few fingers on one hand how many players actually were consistent last season and actually played to their true abilities.
The majority of them are the defensive players.
Yeah, I can't think of, if there was more than 3 players who played to the best of their capabilities. Can you name?
That's a bit harsh, Kenny. 3.
I would say so. I think
Raya.
Yeah, but hang on here.
Timber, Lewis Kelly.
Magalhaes
to the injury. Sacks.
Hang on it. You're just talking about the second half of the season. We didn't win the league.
No, I'm talking about the majority of the campaign.
I'm talking about the league. I'm not talking about the Champions League. I'm talking about the
whole thing.
If
you look at players that I feel pulled their way.
If you look at the league, over the large parts of the league, the only players for me that played to their best of their abilities consistently, week in, week out. I'm not talking about from the games of play. I'm just talking about from August to May. You have to say the goalkeeper.
That's one.
Absolutely brilliant. Gabriel, before he got injured, no 100%. Problems with performances. And
Timber,
yeah. And then I'm struggling after that.
Yeah.
Declan Rice played well in the Championship round.
January onwards.
Declan Rice had a great season.
Yeah, Rice was 5-6 out of 10 for the first half of the season. Then
Party probably has been most consistent. But other than that, I'm with Kenny. I'm struggling.
I throw Sacks into that with his injury.
And it's facts. You can't win the league when players have not been performing on a regular basis. You know, we've had a lot of 5 and 6 out of 10s for most games for a lot of players.
Yeah. Going through the motions from Wolves' first game of the season.
And that's not good enough. And you know, this is why you have to change things. You have to try and get the best out of the players you got. You have to, you know, when you see players turning out every week and they're putting stinkers in, you have to look at right, where can I change it? What can I do? What can I do that's different? You know,
it's a sad state of affairs, man.
But there is a lot of players we need, and left-hand side is a massive problem. And I agree with Kenny. We need a left back. We need a left back. Although Skelly's done a good job, he's not a left back. He's been there by default. He got there through injuries because of Zinchenko and Calafiori. That's why Skelly was thrown in at left back. And then suddenly he's thought, oh, hang on a minute. He ain't bad at left back. I'll keep him there. Same as Ben White. He discovered Ben White as a right back by default, by injury. But all these players weren't bought for that position. See, I believe if we're struggling to get players over the line, I believe make the most of the resources you've got. So put Calafiori as a left back and develop him, which would be hard work, but make him a left back and develop him, and put Skelly in midfield as our attacking stroke midfield player. Because one thing that kid's good at doing is carrying the ball when he's got the ball. He's good with players around him. He can see a pass. Put him in midfield. Let him ball out. Take the reins off him. Make him our Coutinho. Why are we isolating him at left back? We don't need to. We can save millions by putting him in midfield. And people are going to say, yeah, but he's too young. He's too raw. Well, you've got to start from somewhere. You know, you have to prove yourself as a good coach and turn him into a good player, like Eddie Howe did to Joel Linton.
Is it fair to say though Arteta has shown elements of that? Because what Rice is playing as a obviously you know Ben White's gone over, Gabriel Magalhaes's development since he's obviously signed. Are we being fair to Arteta?
You know what? Unfortunately, in football.